This week, episode 263 of Stogie Geeks. I'm your host, Joe Hozempa. We have live in studio Dan Davison. He is the sales manager for Queensbury Cigar Pipe up in Queensbury, New York. We're going to talk a little bit about the industry. We're also going to talk to you how we feel that the buy three, get one is dead. It's absolutely dead when it comes to events, and we have some reasons why. Second segment's going to be 5 questions with Danny D. Danny D is no stranger to the Stogie Geeks podcast, but he's never answered the famous or infamous questions that Paul usually asks some of the interviews. So I don't know how that slipped through the cracks, but we got 5 questions with Danny D. If you, the Stogie Geeks listener, want to ask Dan a question, all you have to do is go to our Facebook page. You can type in the question, or you can email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com, and the sticks of the week right here. Don't go anywhere.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. I am here with both Joes, multi-Joe, Joe times 2.
My wife was tasked with keeping the 2 hooligans on lockdown in the house. Didn't want them out there disturbing.
But for those of you who know my personality, I'm kind of not someone you put the do not disturb sign on. I'm like, what? Like,
Joe's going to show up in your yard and be like,
if you could text me, damn it, you could talk.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie
That's
Geeks
Joe.
Listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our
That sounds
website by
amazing.
clicking the HCC logo.
Welcome to the Stogie Geeks, episode 263. I am your host this week, Joe Hozempa. I'm digging that intro. Hats off to the crew for making that happen. They really did a good job at snapping all of us 3 for sure this time. Loving the intro. We have live in studio Dan Davison, no stranger to Stogie Geeks. How are you?
What's going on, Joe? Glad to be back here, back in Rhode Island, and back on the Stogie Geek Show. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. I want to take the time out. We're going to talk about Queensbury Cigar and Pipe. Amazing business, amazing destination if you can get down there. Phenomenal business model, great history. But I really want to get to why we think, and can I say we? Are we?
Yeah, we
okay.
the collective we.
I don't want to. Why the collective we think that in regards to when it comes to cigar events, why the buy 3 get 1 is dead, and if you own a brick and mortar shop, you really need creativity within not only your advertising, but you need creativity when it comes to your event. So we're going to take some time to talk about that. And then in the second segment, this takes a little bit of preparation. If you're tuning into this show, we are doing the infamous 5 questions with Danny D. Those are the Stogie Geeks 5 questions. I have a couple that I want to put Joe's spin on as well. But if you have a question for Dan, you have 2 ways that you can ask the question. You can go to the Facebook page on Stogie Geeks and type it in the comments. And in between this segment and next segment, I'll be able to get those. The producer will get a couple questions there. Or you can just flash me an email, joeh@stogiegeeks.com. I got my email up, so we'll be able to add. I'd like to add. We have 4 and 2. We have 6 and 7. So I'd like to add at least three questions. So maybe it'll be 10 questions with Danny D.
Let's do it. Let's bring it.
Anything's on the table. He said go for it. So and just so you know, you definitely want to stay tuned for the second segment for sure, because Danny D doesn't even know the questions that we're gonna ask.
No clue.
Over there. So it should be a fun segment. And then obviously the sticks of the week. So Dan, you have had the opportunity with your cigar resume. You started off working for here in the Providence Metro.
Yep.
And you've worked for one of the oldest humidor, if not, it's either 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
It's either the oldest or one
The oldest
of the,
active.
Okay, so it's the oldest active humidor in the state of Rhode Island. there, and then we'll take some time and talk about where that was and how that was, and then you've transitioned up to Queensbury, and then you're continuing on with your cigar resume. You've transitioned into a rep for Kristoff Cigars.
Yes, it did.
You had some tenure there, and then you have landed back to Queensbury,
full circle,
where you currently are now.
Yeah.
Let's get that out in the open.
Yeah.
Take us through, because it's not all the time where you're in an industry and you kind of get to see both sides.
Absolutely.
I've had many experiences with that in my career as well, where I've had the opportunity to work for both sides, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And it can be humbling. It can be very enlightening. It can be scary, depending on how much information you know. It can be pretty scary.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with that?
Absolutely. So, like you said, I started here in Rhode Island. Worked for the Humidor Smoke Shops. Awesome shop. They have 3 locations. And then after a few years, I transitioned up to Queensbury Cigar and Pipe through Kristoff, actually, as a matter of fact. I was the first official intern at Kristoff Cigars. Jared took me on the road, and we ended up in Queensbury. That's where I met Kathleen, who's the owner up there. And, originally my plan was to be there, learn the industry at a bigger store, a different store, learn a little bit, trying to diversify my knowledge, and hopefully get a sales rep job. And that's what happened. I went on the road with Kristoff Cigars. Awesome experience. I did the Northeast, which included New York and New England. Like you said, you see a lot of things. And it was great. There's no ill will between myself and Kristoff. We're all good.
Sure.
Things changed at Queensbury Cigar and Pipe, and ultimately it led to me making the decision to make the transition back to retail. For some reason I ended up gravitating back every other day when I was on the road. I'm like, why am I back in I have no reason to be here, but somehow I'm still here. But so I realized that, one, I had a passion for being on the retail side of the counter, and also I really enjoyed the relationships I created at Queensbury Cigar and Pipe. It's an awesome place to work, really cool people, and it's great to go to work every day and do it with people you care about. So it's awesome.
Yeah, total years you've been in the industry. Is it 8?
No,
I'm thinking.
This will be my 5th year.
5th year? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought it was longer than that. Right, yeah.
It's just because I look like I'm, 20 years older than I actually
No,
am, so.
I have like no concept of you know me. You know me outside of the industry. I have no concept of poise and time.
Yeah. But what's cool about it now is, looking back, I've been back in retail for about 6 months now. And it almost is like I took a semester abroad. I went out into the territory and saw, knowing, okay, this is what we as a retailer, and I myself did well on the retail side in terms of whatever, merchandising, marketing, selling. And this is what we did well. This is what we did poorly. And then I can go to some of the bigger accounts in the territory, some of the more notorious shops who do a lot of things right, and go, how did they overcome some of those challenges? What can I do to implicate that back into our business in New York? And it's been great.
Business layout between the Providence Metro and geographically, when I say Providence Metro, in media, that includes all of Rhode Island and at least a half hour in each direction, outside of Rhode Island with the bordering states. So demographically, in the Providence Metro, I believe the number's 38, 39, 41.
A lot.
Cigar shops. I explain this a lot here on Stogie Geeks and a lot in my radio show and in my career and in my dabblings with the cigar industry, where they're all like different. They're all different.
Every shop's different.
So you had the opportunity to work for the Humidor, which was one of 3.
Yep. And
that had its characteristic.
Yeah.
And then now up in Queensbury, New York, which is 25 minutes, north of Albany, New York?
It's about 40 minutes north of Albany and about 20 minutes north of Saratoga.
Okay.
So
okay.
At the horse races.
Yep. So you're there. Take us through that retail landscape, and
Absolutely.
then how it differs. And you know, I don't want to spend a lot of time, you know, exclusively talking about Rhode Island, but
Sure.
but there is a big difference.
Absolutely.
How did you make that transition?
So, I
as
mean,
well?
even to go a step further, there was a difference between the 3 different stores that the Humidor has between Cranston, Newport, and East Greenwich at the time. You know, I spent most of my time in Newport, and you know, obviously a lot of tourism. So there's a lot of similarities to that in New York in the summertime. But you know, you hung out at the other store. There's a lot of personality at the East Greenwich store that maybe wasn't at Newport, but the same thing. There's a lot of things at Newport that weren't. Every shop's different, even within a business that has multiple locations. The biggest thing from Rhode Island to New York would be realizing that some products don't sell in different locations. You know, something might be super hot on your shelf here, and then you go 40 minutes west or 40 minutes north, and no one carries it. It doesn't sell. It's fascinating to realize, even within a brand, you know, someone might like X Habano as opposed to the X Maduro, and it's completely changed wherever you are. So it's getting to know your customer base and knowing what they like, and not necessarily buying for what you like or in past. Kind of open yourself up to realize, you know, this might work somewhere else, but it's not going to work here, and just navigating those kind of minefields.
You know what's fascinating is that even here, where there's 39 different shops, that argument's the same.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's a characteristic of the makeup of the shop.
Could be.
You know, I honestly think that, and you know, point of purchase. I've had retail experience with a cigar shop in a different capacity. It's all pre-MySpace, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, and then pre-social media, you know. We had 1 or 2 cigar publications at the time that people went to. Yeah. Everything was print.
No,
you know,
not a lot of forums.
There was not a lot. The forums were just
starting.
Because remember, we had 56K dial-up. Like I remember sitting in the cigar shop that I owned, using 56K and paying handsomely for that.
Didn't get a T1 line for the shop.
No, so I don't even know. It probably was invented. You know, Paul's company has other security podcasts.
Sure.
I try not to talk about technology.
No,
because you know it's
completely ignorant to it.
You know, but you know, and so it was different because the consumer was different.
Absolutely.
But in this day and age, you know, that characteristic that you brought from the 2 different metros, which are not only geographically different, you have a high tourism area because Lake George is the next town over.
Correct.
Yep. So Lake George, it being the next town over, you got a lot of tourism, beautiful scenery. People can
a lot of out of towners,
family, or you know, a lot of people from Jersey.
Oh yeah,
so, you know, all the Jersey and Pennsylvania plates I see when I go down there. You know, and I think a lot of it has to deal with the management of the humidor too.
Absolutely, and it could be too. Like I said, some things don't sell up there that might normally sell, but the thing you got to remember too is. Outside of your metropolitan areas, there's not as much buzz on maybe some of your boutique lines. I mean, my customers aren't normally reading Half Wheel. Some of them might, and that's great. But some of them just they might get a catalog. They might get they have a subscription to one of the big box websites online, and they kind of dictate their taste off that, or they know what they like, but maybe they're not as adventurous as some other people might be. When you have a large collection of stores to choose from in terms of inventory, so they know they're you know, they're call brand guys, which is totally fine. And some things, you know, they just don't work outside of certain areas, and that there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it doesn't make it. You know, I always say in our world, unfortunately there's really good cigars, and sometimes there's just cigars that sell.
Sure.
And I need to have the cigars that sell sometimes over those really good cigars.
Yeah.
And that's the way of life, unfortunately.
Speaking of really good cigars, right? Dan had come to the studio and gifted us the Davidoff Year of the Dog.
Yeah.
And my only comment is, this is good work if you can find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This stick is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The retro hail is even more phenomenal.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the Year of series, the Zodiac collection. They come out with one every year. I'm still hunting a box of Year of the Snake. So if you know out there where there's a box of Year of the Snakes, email Joe.
Oh,
and I will pay you handsomely for them. But
I've actually have had the Stogie Geeks listeners send me links. like I'm like, I was looking for a couple weeks ago the Mason-Dixon line.
Okay.
And then up here, like one of the versions is available.
Sure.
And some listener, some listener from Texas says, "Hey man, here's the link. Here's the shop. Knock yourself out." So what do you look? You'll look for the Year of Snake.
Year of the Snake. It's from 2000. I found two.
Okay.
2 cigars. I need a box sealed, not the new one.
A box of the Year of Snake.
Oh yeah.
Woo! This is a tall order. Okay.
It's a tall order.
Stogie Geeks listeners, listen up. Okay. Davidoff, Year of the Snake, box unopened. You're really picky. Unopened, right?
I'm not gonna go there.
Unopened. If you know where this can happen, email me, joeh@stogiegeeks.com. I will forward it over to Dan. If we can make that happen, okay, relatively quickly, I will throw in some Stogie Geeks swag.
I think I might be able to come up with some stuff too.
Oh yeah. Forget that. Dan.
Yeah, don't. This is my quest. You don't have to do it. Yeah.
No, I do this. See, this is this.
Yeah.
From my other show on the radio show, I always put out quests to
Yeah.
listeners. They looking for a great restaurant to. All they're doing is feeding me advertisements.
It's like Craigslist.
Right.
Right here.
Where's a good place to? So if we can make that happen, joeh@stogiegeeks.com for sure. Anything else you want to add in regards to kind of like that? Before we start talking about the favorite one I want to talk about is why the lack of creativity in the buy 3 get one is dead. But anything else you want to talk about, like from both sides? Like what lessons have you learned from being a rep, seeing that side, and then because you had a chance to travel to the Kristoff factory as well.
I went to I actually was at Perdomo like a month ago, but Kristoff does their trip at the end of the year. And
you went to the Perdomo factory too. Recently, we got to save a couple of minutes at the end to talk about that. Boy, this interview's starting to stack up.
Oh yeah, we got hot takes. The biggest thing, and actually, I was talking to one of the sales reps on the road, and he asked me, what's the biggest difference for you being on the road versus being in the shop? I said, no one believes me anymore. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I'm a rep now. I work for one brand. So if I'm like, oh, this is good, you're gonna like it. They're like, nah, you get paid to say that. I don't believe you anymore. As opposed to being behind the counter, when I can be like, hey, here's 4 or 5 different cigars based on what you like. Boom, 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 boom. And most of the time, they're like, yeah, that sounds good. I'm in. But as a rep, all credibility is out the window. But other than that, I think you get to just learn a little bit more about the inner workings of not only your own company but others, and it's kind of interesting to see, how sometimes even the small companies that appear to be big are really small in their scale, and they do a lot for how small their employee base is, and it's pretty impressive to see how hard a lot of these people on the manufacturer side work to bring you the product to nationwide or internationally. And really, you see that at the factories. We can talk about that when we do the factory tour part. But when you go to the factory, you see it. But you really see it in how hard the reps work to, one, show up for events and bring you products. And also, they have families and stuff too. So you get to an appreciation for, just being out on the road and seeing your customers and then building those relationships with your customers being the retailer and how valuable those are, even after you're not on the road like myself. I have good contacts with some people, and it's good. It's a good little community, like a fraternity. It's pretty cool.
I'm not looking for specifics as far as shop or anything like that, but give me a concept, because I don't want to start throwing bombs, of a bad road day.
A bad road day?
Just like oh my God.
A bad road day wouldn't necessarily, I say, like a particular store.
Sure.
That's your job. Sometimes you just got to go to shops you don't want to go to.
Right.
A bad road day is when you're at, say, the farthest point away from your house in the territory, say you're out, like for me, if I was coming back here say I had an event in Rhode Island on Saturday, but I was in Buffalo for an event on Friday.
That's 8 hours.
That's awful booking on my part. Planning that schedule. But anytime you had, like, if you were somewhere and there's no way out of a 6-hour, 5-hour ride, that's a bad day.
Yeah. Right.
And if there's no good food spots in between. So if you're like, you're relegated to an Applebee's or a Ruby Tuesdays as opposed to, like, being in the Rhode Island, New Hampshire corridor where it's close your eyes and point, there's so many good restaurants.
Sure.
You can make a bad day on the road better just with going to, like, okay, I'm going to Connecticut. I'm going to Pepe's Pizza. I know I'm going to go there that's my spot. There's Jared, actually, Trudeau showed me this place in Seabrook in New Hampshire, which is a good place to travel anyway. But there's this Mexican restaurant right next to a couple stores. It's amazing. I would make a point. You go over the New Hampshire line. You're going there.
Yeah. Right.
So that's how you make it better. And for me, I didn't have kids or I didn't have a wife or anything. So I can imagine if that's part of your life, it makes it tougher too. But for me, it was just me. Yeah.
So you have a newfound respect from doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
From that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys, some of my reps in New York have been on the road since the '90s.
Boy, have they seen.
And they have kids, and they have they have teenage kids too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were probably in the '90s. They were calling in orders. Maybe faxing if the cigar shop had a fax machine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Calling in orders.
It's a whole new world now.
Do you ever get? Oh no, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, like, I thought a road nightmare would be like, I came before the shipment and we had no product or something like that.
So I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one story without naming names. So I was in Lake George. I never got rid of my apartment there. So I would stay there. I would split my time between here and Lake George. But anyway, so I had to go down to I think Long Island for an event. Whatever. It's the summertime. It's a Friday.
Yeah, take the ferry.
No, I was just straight shot.
Okay, sure.
I don't do ferry. I don't like the ferry.
Why?
I don't know. Well, I didn't need to that day anyway because it was right over the line. It was right at the tip of the island, right?
Okay.
So I got to go down there for an event, and it's a Friday, and I was on the phone actually with Kathleen, who's the owner at Queensbury, and I was like, this guy forgot about the event. I know it. I could feel it in my bones.
Oh, no.
I could feel it in my bones.
Oh,
but
boy.
I got to go because, like, we talked about it. Like, yes, we're doing this event.
Sure.
It's going to be great. All this stuff. I'm getting the product and all, whatever, So I'm just the whole time on this car ride. I'm like, this ain't going to happen. I'm going over the Throg's Neck. I'm like, nope, this ain't going to work. Sure enough, I get there. I'm like, I'll call you back if I'm going home.
Yep.
And I go in the shop, and the guy's like, we had an event today, and I'm like,
in the headlights.
I go, I'll see you next week. Good luck.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sucks when you have appointments and stuff and they don't come through and you drove all the way, but that's first world problems.
Yeah.
As long as you're still selling cigars and you're busy, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had experiences like that for sure. That is just like you just know, like
yep.
you just like
you just feel it in your bones, man.
This is not gonna.
Yep. I'm going to dinner. I'm getting a steak.
Yep.
Forget it.
Yep. And like trying to make the best of the day.
Yep.
And stuff like that. That's awesome. Talk to us a little bit about Queensbury and
sure.
And what I like about it is it reminds me like of an old ski den.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yep.
you go there, you got a huge fireplace, you can relax. But take us through like the functionality of, because you also Queensbury has a humongous web presence as well.
Absolutely.
So take us through that
Sure.
the marketing of not only managing the humidor and your responsibilities there,
yeah,
but the web, discounts web. Also, you want to stay tuned because you're having as for you making the pilgrimage to Rhode Island.
There you go.
We're doing a little promo as well.
That's a nice tease right there. I
like
that.
So you want to stay tuned for that. But take us through the web components of that, because in my other show, it focuses on business. And it's amazing how many people I meet who are brick and mortar, and two arguments come up. Number one, I don't need a website, which is, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Good
you
luck.
at least need a website to take out your cell phone and stand out in front of your business and ask about your product. And if the cell phone doesn't say you're already here or you're within 200 feet of your destination, that's a problem.
Sure.
But then more importantly, a lot of brick and mortar places, I get this objection all the time in the industry. Oh, well, we just can't keep up with the big box, or we can't keep up with CI, or we can't keep up with JRs, and they're all buying each other, so it really doesn't matter. No. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
They're all buying each other, and therefore I don't need a website. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So, what's it like? You're obviously not a big box, but you're a huge player.
Yeah.
When it comes to the web, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
in your tenure you've seen it grow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not familiar with Queensbury Cigar and Pipe, we also have an online website called cupofjoes.com. We're one of the oldest pipes and pipe tobacco retailers online in the internet, really. We carry, hundreds of different pipes from different pipe manufacturers, pipe tobaccos from everything that's really exclusive, rare stuff, to really big companies like Lane. Whatever it is for pipes and pipe tobacco, that's really our bread and butter online. And then we also do have we do have cigars online as well. What's really cool we added is you can buy individual cigars. So if you want to just try something as opposed to buying by boxes like you do at the big box stores, you can just buy one. You want to and then sample it and then buy a bunch. But like you said, it's tough to compete with those different companies, absolutely. But if you don't do anything, and that means don't do social media, don't have a website, you don't have to have an e-commerce site, but have a reason for people to come into your store if you're not going to do internet sales.
Right.
That's all. That's not a big task to have. But what's really impressive is to see a lot of people don't realize when they walk into Queensbury Cigar and Pipe that we do have such an online presence, because it's all underground. You don't.
Sure.
It's it's don't look behind the curtain, but it's a really impressive operation. Kathy's grown it up she started as a coffee shop in Lake George in the summer, and now it's one of the largest pipe and pipe tobacco dealers in the world. So kudos to her on that. But we have a great staff that works there, both on our sales team and the retail side, and also on the internet side. We do a lot of stuff, promotions and all different kinds of stuff to promote our stuff, whether it's social media. I'm sure you've seen our videos and stuff, and all that goodness. Coop, who's our social media guy and also does all our graphics, does an excellent job on the site and in store. Like right now, they're doing tomorrow is International Pipe Smoking Day.
Yes.
So that's a big deal in our world. So we're doing this monster giveaway where you can win Eric Stokeby bag filled with $1,500 worth of miscellaneous pipe goods. There's pipes in there, like all kinds of awesome stuff just from supporting our retail store. And yeah, it can be tough to compete with some of those guys. They have deep pockets, but you know what? We also provide an excellent service, and customer service is the most important thing in our business. So that's where we stand out.
Yeah, the site, I mean, even though that you do have a heavy pipe presence, cigar selection is phenomenal as well. It's big, it's real big. If you're looking for some great deals, you do have a bargain, or is it called clearance? Or is
It's a bargain bin.
It's a bargain bin. Danny D's bargain bin.
Yeah.
Right, a bargain bin. And I was browsing through there. You got some good stuff there.
Yeah, we're definitely, we got some really good deals going on right now. There's some transition going on in the Humidor, so it's a way for you to cash in. I mean, there's some big level brands in there. I won't name names right now, but if you want to go check it out for yourself, you can save yourself a lot of money.
Sure.
On some of the bigger brands. But our cigar selection is amazing. We're one of the largest humidors in New York and upstate, and we do we work hard at it. It's not easy to just open the doors and just, all right, here you go. You got to work on it, and it's been really good.
Yeah, well, when I speak to some cigar shop owners and I try to bring in the internet conversation, they turn around and they say, well, we can't keystone on the internet.
Sure.
And I come around and say, non-industry, I can't keystone on what I'm doing either. You know what I mean? Welcome to a post-2008 economy.
Welcome to Amazon economy.
Right. Sure. Well, welcome. Exactly. Welcome to an online there, and it's like they pay it no mind. Like they don't even. It's literally that's what I did for the intro to you talked about is the extent of our conversation. They are just it's like a wall. Like they have no interest in it.
Unfortunately, I think some people are naive to the website, and it is if you're doing it by yourself, it can be a really difficult thing to start. But if you think about it as a retailer, if you're going in the front of your store and you've been looking at that $300, $200 lighter since 2009 and no one's bought it, wouldn't you like to have an online avenue to get rid of some of that older product that you've had on the shelf? Even if you say you don't build a website, put it on Facebook. Hey, we're doing a sale. You know what I mean? Get some of that money back. And not necessarily it has to be blowout stuff either. You know, if you build a space where people can find what they're looking for on a Reddit available basis all the time, and you provide them customer service, they're going to come back to you. Because a lot of times people will buy something because they have a relationship with you or I or whoever instead of buying from those stores, because you can't buy that atmosphere and that experience on a big box store. You know, you're just pressing buy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with getting a deal. I like getting a deal too. But if you want that true experience of being in a brick and mortar store, or you want to have a different selection that maybe some of those bigger stores don't carry, some of your retailers who have online presence will have some of those stuff you're looking for. Like me, you know, if I'm looking for the limited edition Davidoffs that I don't have anymore, I can go to some of those white label accounts who have online presence and search through their websites. And while I'm doing that, they have other stuff that I might be looking for that I just don't personally carry and I want to buy myself.
Sure.
So even though there is big box stores, there's also a ton of retailers who have online stores, and they have great online stores. And that's where you really want to support on websites, because those are the guys who are, you know, going to help you out in person and online.
Yeah, and you do a good job, you do a phenomenal job on both.
Yeah.
You know, toggling back to pipes right quick, you had told me a description of the store.
Sure.
And then when I actually physically walked in there, and I tell people this all the time when they say, well, you know, I want to go visit Dan or whatever, because people in Rhode Island are very close to you and Jared.
Sure.
Right? You know, and they say, what's it like? I said, let me tell you something. Like, the pipe collection is divided by country. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for something from England or France or help me with a couple more countries, right?
How many countries do exist?
Right. And then you have the cabinet. And I remember just taking a moment, you know, away from the television, away from that, and just looking at the artistry from that, and then how that's all separate and divided by country. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That was like a big takeaway for me. You know?
Yeah. No.
You know, especially not being as fanatical about pipes as I am about cigars, you know, but how that's a whole another market and a whole nother industry.
Absolutely. I mean, something we really try to work on is merchandising. It's something that while we do well in that pipe room, it looks beautiful, and that's like a fraction of the pipes that are downstairs.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. And in the humidor, you know, we try and make it look presentable for our customers. One, so they can find stuff easier, and two, because, you know, I don't want to go into a humidor and have to dig through, you know, 2 inches of dust to find something or whatever. But you can always do everything better. But yeah, no, the shop is beautiful. It's basically, it used to be a restaurant.
Okay.
So it's a really big, almost like a log cabin feel to it. It's very Adirondacky. That's the best way I can describe it. We have a beautiful walk-in humidor, the pipe room if you're looking for pipes, pipe tobacco, all that stuff. And then we have the lounge, just out of the golf simulator room about 2 years ago, which I'm sure somebody's in there watching this right now as we're streaming this live right now at the store on the big screen. So shout out to all the boys.
What's up?
Boys and girls hanging out in there. And
you should play that every Monday there.
Yeah, we're working on it. We got some things in the irons in the fire.
Right.
And then we got the patio in the summer, which is great. You know, it allows, you know, even for me, once I close the store, I'll sit out on the patio and hang out with the boys, play some dominoes, all that stuff. It's a really cool place to work, you know, because not only do we have a lot of cool stuff to sell, we also have a really cool customer base to hang out with.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Perdomo Factory.
Yeah.
Then why the 3-for-1 is dead? I'm not avoiding this.
No, I see the tease.
It's because, you know, when we were, you know, discussing some potential topics, you know, we were like, what do you think about this? And you know, because I've often said like the lack of creativity, like it drives me crazy.
Sure.
You know, now we got cigar shops bringing in acoustic guitars. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Rock out.
But now you got like, oh, they're doing it, so we're gonna. And I'm like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Battle of the Bands.
You know, and I'm just like, you know, I'm just like, this is crazy. Is this a cigar shop or what is this place? You know.
When's the last time an acoustic guitar sold a cigar?
Yeah.
Just saying.
I would say closest would probably be the late Avo. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You know, because he's a phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was a phenomenal musician. Sure. You know. You recently, within a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, within a month ago, you went to the Perdomo factory.
Yeah.
Take us through that and what that was.
That was
like.
awesome. Yeah, it was my second time on a factory tour, so I was looking to see what is different. You know, from different
Where did you go first?
I went to Davidoff.
Oh, okay, yep. So, and you're going to Davidoff? No, you're going to Drew Estate.
Yeah, next month.
Yep, next month. Okay.
So Perdomo was great. You know, we brought 2 of our customers with us. They had an excellent time. I had one of the guys. He took, I think, 7 pages of notes because Nick is so meticulous and has so much information to give you in 2.5 days. Mm-hmm. It's astounding. It's really cool just to see how much goes into just making one cigar, whether it's Perdomo or any. If you have a chance to go on a factory tour, go, because you'll never see an experience like that, what goes into making these for us. I thought it was really cool for me. I thought the box factory was pretty cool. They do all their boxes there. Mm-hmm. They have their own cellophane machine to make the cellophane for the cigars. It was like being at Wonka's factory, you know, seeing all these cool little gadgets just to make one cigar or put them in a box. But they do an excellent job there, and they really had a cool marketing thing for the retailers at the end, which is pretty impressive. So if you see your local Perdomo rep and you want to learn more, they have an excellent tour. I highly recommend it. If you have the opportunity, go. Nick's a great guy, and their product's really good. So
was it tough to come home?
Yeah, it was 75 degrees. Yeah, and it was 75 degrees. And then we had to drive 4 hours back from JFK back up to upstate New York. Do you think I'd rather stay in Nicaragua or, go shovel? Tough choice.
Were you able to get outside of the factory?
No,
because the agenda is just so jam packed.
So like we were there one day in the capital in Managua at the resort at a hotel. Mm-hmm. We watched like the Patriots game or something and just chilled out. That was great. Yeah, just to have like a veg out day. But no, we just stayed at the hotel at the factory, played dominoes. Yeah. 6 hours a day. Yeah, it was a blast.
It's like telling someone, okay, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to Disneyland. Did you see this? Nope. Did you see that? Nope. Did you see that? Because there's just so much to do.
I mean, you can see other people's factories when you're there. Like you drive, on the way from the hotel to the Perdomo factory. My father's factory was right there. Mm-hmm. I think Jay Fuego was across the street from Perdomo. I'm not particularly sure. But they're all like right there. Same thing in like Santiago, where Davidoff. They're all kind of in the same little area. So it's kind of cool if you're on tour. Someone else like, oh, there's another cigar I like, or that's where it's pretty cool. Just seeing the fields and just it's crazy to see how much work just goes to make just a cigar.
The Davidoff factory.
Yeah.
I would probably buy a one-way ticket and like apply for a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay.
It was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool.
How was that? Yeah.
It was a lot of similarities. It's rolling rooms, rolling tables, just different cigars. Yeah. What was cool at the Davidoff factory was seeing a lot of they were rolling all the new limited editions that hadn't been released yet. So like before, like the Escurio Gran Perfecto came out, I saw that. Yep. We got to smoke the first batch of Nicaraguan box pressed. So you get to see like a sneak preview of what's coming into the store.
Yeah, sure.
That was awesome. Yeah. And then the same thing at Perdomo, just seeing like, them rolling and all the different stuff. I mean, there's not a lot of new stuff coming out now. Obviously we know what's going on, but just the work that goes into one stick. Yeah. You're like,
regardless
everyone,
of the factory,
right. People knock on Davidoff for being $20, $30. If you go down to a factory, you think everything should be $20, $30.
Sure.
And the fact that Perdomo sells cigars for under $10 in some states is mind-blowing because of all the work that Nick puts into getting that from seed to store. It's incredible.
Yeah. Davidoff is I would like I wouldn't come home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A week was too short.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
Is there a little bit of a placebo effect when you're having a cigar fresh off the line in the middle of Nicaragua.
So
or in the middle of the, like, because they're like,
So we didn't smoke stuff off the line because
Okay.
I don't know how it was in Perdomo, but they get paid per piece. So if you take cigars right off the line,
you know what I mean? Like there, right?
Sure.
There, you know?
But like
I'm Italian, everything's off the line, right?
back in the shop.
Yeah.
But no, at Davidoff we got to roll around cigars. So yes, I get to smoke stuff right off the bat. It's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
How did that work for you? Did you roll your own?
No, I told him to roll it. It's Davidoff. I was like, guy,
I don't want to ruin this.
no. I tried. I put the binder on, and I was like, I am awful at this. Is the hardest thing I've done.
Sure.
So why don't I just give it to the guy who gets paid to make some of the better cigars in the world? I'll smoke.
He'll do it
that.
in seconds.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'd still be there trying to roll one if it was me.
Well, that's a good way to stay. Hold on.
You can't leave until you roll a cigar. All right. Is there food here?
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's just the weather's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience, especially for any of the Northeast customers or retailers to get away when it's just miserable out and you get to see the sun for the first time in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's great. So if you get the chance, if your local brick and mortar shop is offering a tour, if someone you know has invited you, definitely go because you can never put a price on that kind of experience at any factory. It really is impressive.
Awesome. Buy 3.
Oh, God.
Get 1. Oh, hold on. The views expressed in this program do not reflect Stogie Geeks, its management, and or its staff for the rest of this section. There you go. Here's my disclaimer.
There you go. Perfect.
You've had experience with buy 3, get 1. FDA put some rules as to how you word the word free.
Sure.
Right? Let's put that aside. I don't like to really go too deep into that, even though political culture fascinates me. But that whole situation, I really think is going to be postponed and kick the can down the road.
That's a whole other
I've been saying that on my cigar radio show when I started since then, and I've been saying that here on Stogie Geeks that I just think it's just going to be pushed down. But the concept of come to an event, meet the rep and or owner.
Yep.
Right. So you get a chance to meet the owner. I think
it's a little different though.
No. I think meeting the owner has its place.
Sure.
I think it, especially within the cigar industry, when you have a chance to meet the owner of a particular product, I think it kind of solidifies the brand.
Yeah.
That's important. But the concept of you buy 3, get 1, I really think it's played out. It's way overly used. Or they do, buy 5, get 2, or buy 8, get 3. You buy a box, you get 5 more. We've all, as Stogie Geeks listeners or Stogie Geeks, have been to an event that's had that.
Yeah.
You and I feel that concept is completely dead.
Absolutely.
So take us through your thought about that.
So, I mean, it's still a thing that goes on in humidors. I still do it myself. But, I mean, from where I started 5 years ago to now, and tell me your experience with this, but I remember when I first started, when a rep came to the store, it was like kind of a big deal.
Yes.
There was a
even
buzz,
when a rep.
just a rep.
Not an owner.
Not an owner, not a celebrity, if they have, whatever.
Yep.
Just a rep, it was a big deal. There was kind of a buzz around it. It was the only time you got specials, and a lot of times when it was just the bigger brands, it just was a big deal. And slowly, I saw that kind of disappear, at least in my experience.
Dwindle.
Yep. I think there could be a couple different reasons. I think one, meeting a rep isn't exciting anymore because it turned into, oh, cool, I'm going to learn more about my brand, to, hey, I'm here, so buy 3 of my cigars.
Sure. I also think
to
stay on that topic too. I also think that with social media having a high impact, we can follow the rep.
Correct.
Of our choosing.
Correct.
You know, so if we like a particular brand and we go to their website, we go to their Facebook, you can sometimes the reps check in or however that format works. So we can now follow the rep anyway. So we kind of have a feeling or some sort of an attachment to that rep. So it dwindles if they're in a shop 3 times a year.
Sure. And with that, and it's not always necessarily the rep's fault, but they're doing so many of those just 3-in-1s that it's so oversaturated in their mind, and then the retailer is doing so many of those with all the different reps, it's not an event anymore. It's just, this is the day that we get a deal. You know, it's not an event. It's not an experience. It's just, it's not right to call it an event. It's just, hey, this guy's here if you want to learn more. Then it's on the rep or me as a salesperson to say, hey, we have so-and-so here from so-and-so brand. This is what they do. I want to show you why their cigars are important, as opposed to 4-in-1, get a hat, go home. You know, and the other part of it, too, is like, do you want to sell 4 cigars or do you want to sell boxes?
Right.
You know? 4 cigars are great, and, you know, every sale counts. But if you just focus on doing stick deals as opposed to doing box deals and make it worth it to get the box as opposed to just limit yourself to the 4-in-1, you're missing out on a ton of different. 1, your average sale will go way up, and 2, the ton of revenue that you can get in an event, even if you're giving them a discount. That's, I mean, at the end of the day, we're here to sell tobacco, right?
Yep.
You want to sell the most tobacco that you can.
Sure.
So why would you just only do a 4-in-1? You know, yeah, people do box deals, but they don't really promote it. They just assume that their customer won't buy the box and don't promote the box sale.
It's almost twofold. They're afraid to ask for the deal.
Yeah.
They're afraid to say, hey, a box is $150, $200, $250. Yeah. Just Davidoff $350, right?
Yeah.
You know, right? But no, and they're afraid to ask for that.
Afraid to ask for the sale.
But yet they don't know what the consumers' love for the product is.
Correct.
So that's one point.
Yeah.
And then the other point, it's like you're giving away the farm.
Absolutely.
You know, like because like you said, the idea is to sell tobacco.
Right.
And to do
in
that.
volume.
So my question is, you being obviously sales manager over at Queensbury Cigar and Pipe, how do you? Because I follow you on Facebook, and I follow Queensbury over on Facebook and Instagram, and you know, look at the events, and what you're doing. How do you and your staff, along with Kathleen, the owner, kind of counteract that to you know, dare I say, but it is what you're doing. You kind of sweeten the pot.
Absolutely.
You know, make them want to come to the event, not like, you know, oh, well, we're going to meet so-and-so. And, you know, he was here 3 months ago. You know, I mean,
I haven't heard from him since.
And I haven't heard from him since, you know. So what are you doing to kind of give your events a little bit of birth?
So there's a lot of different things we try and do. Like we just said, the most important thing is to give the customer a reason to come to the shop. Nobody needs to buy cigars. Nobody. It's a luxury. It's a great hobby that we all have and an experience that we all enjoy and a friendship that we gain from being in this business, right? But no one needs to buy anything. You know, it's not water. It's not your electric bill. It's not your kid's soccer uniform. Right. It's a luxury product that we get to experience. You have to give them a reason why they should buy cigars from you, right? Because they also, not only do they not need cigars, they don't have to buy them from you because they could probably get a better deal somewhere else.
Yep. Or dare I say online.
Sometimes not. I mean, for us, at least with our online website, our prices are exactly the same. You can't get a better deal on cigars, at least, in the website than you can on other big box websites. But in store, we're talking about events, right? They have to be an event. It has to be an experience. I want someone to come up to me and say, I'm so glad that Joe came and did that event with us. He's great. We really liked his cigars, and we had an awesome time. I mean, perfect. I did an event last month. We did it with UFC, which we've talked about before on the show, about doing the UFC events, which has been a great thing for Queensbury. But we did an event along with it, not just the event. We did a blind taste test on a company cigars, and it was like an extra $10. They got 2 cigars. They're both blind. And they got to take notes, and they got to learn a little bit more about the tobaccos, kind of figure out what their palate's like without saying, oh, this is the Davidoff Year of the Dog. Right. You know, this is a $40 cigar, or this is a $20 cigar. Just blind, and they get to kind of experience that tobacco journey on their own. and they loved it. They got 2 great cigars.
Yep.
For
$10.
For $10.
Right.
That should have cost them 30.
Sure.
And they also got to learn a little bit more about tobacco and get to know the sales rep better.
And also, if I could add in, right, if I was a participant in that event, you get to learn more about your palate.
Correct.
Which is ultimately what it's about. So you're really catering to your frequent customers or circle of influence, business word, right?
Yeah.
Circle of influence is palates.
Yeah.
Which, if they can pay $10 to learn about the product, history, wrapper, binder, filler, makeup, you know, and then all of a sudden learn about their journey and their palates, it's what's in it for them.
Yeah.
As opposed to, hey, the rep is here. What's in it for the rep? Because
let's go up to the register.
Because we want to move sticks.
Right. And and what I found the most successful when I was on the road was, yes, I can go into a shop and sell cigars. I'm decent at it. But what keeps cigars, you know, keeps a customer loyal to you not only as a store but as a manufacturer is to build a relationship with the customer. When you have a rep who sits down in the lounge with the guys and, you know, bullshits with them and does whatever, and gets to know them on a personal level, not just, oh, hey, man, if you go up front, Dan's got deals, you know, check it out.
Thanks for coming.
And actually gets to know you.
I can name like 6 reps. You know what I mean? 6 reps out of like that.
You know, and but it doesn't do you any justice just to sit there and wait. You know, it's almost 9. I'm ready to
bounce out of here.
Right. Yeah. You want to build that relationship, and if you don't do that, they're not going to remember you when you're not there. You know, how many times I've seen it a million times where someone walks in the humidor and is like, "What does Joe sell? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, he was great. I really liked that event." And then they become fans because they become a fan of you.
Yep.
I mean, there's no mystery why Jared was so successful on the road. He built relationships with all of his customers.
Right.
People love him because he gets to know the people in the industry on both sides of the counter.
Right.
And they remember that, you know, and like I tried to replicate that when I was on the road because that's what the most successful reps do.
You know, you speak to credibility. Something happened to me personally last Thursday. Last Thursday was the Havana Cigar Club's next door 50-year anniversary party.
Congrats, by the way.
Right? 50-year anniversary party. And they said that, you know, it was to be hosted by Kristoff Cigars, blah, blah, blah. And they put in their email, and they put in all their marketing, yes, Jared will be here. Yes, Jared will be here. And I walked in, and I went directly to Jared. Hey, how you doing? Went to how you doing? You know, haven't seen you. You know, hugs. You know, everything's going good. How's business? How's there? Da-da-da-da. Went on with my day. I'm driving home.
Yep.
I'm driving home after the event, and I'm like, I didn't even congratulate the owner of the cigar shop about his 5 years. So I wasn't there the next day. Saturday, I went there. And I said to the owner, I said, you know, I owe you an apology. He's like, for what now, right? You know, because I get a little animated in cigar shop. He goes, for what now? I says, you know, I came in and I was part of your 75-person event where it was all about Jared.
Right.
And I forgot to say, hey, congratulations on your 5 years. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. Everybody did it. Like,
and that's a credit to him, you know?
And so it's a credit that what you're saying is absolutely true. If a rep is liked and a rep has a following, and obviously they can have a following easier with social media and whatnot. You know, speaking of Jared, like I love his airplane stories.
Oh,
with he calls it worst class, last class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Toes on your seat.
You know, and
no one's been ever more wrong than Jared in the history of the earth when it comes to travel.
Right.
They come out of the woodwork to attack him.
You know, and it's probably the universe getting back at him.
Hey,
but you know, it's like that is a testament. So you know, they had their 50th anniversary, and 75 people were there for Jared. Yeah. And there to talk about John's transition, even though he's been there for a while. Yeah. But you know, and it was about them, and it was about the Kristoffs.
They built that.
It wasn't about the 5-year anniversary party of what the event was for.
Yeah. I mean, I had a rep that just moved on. He went up in a company into upper management, and like some guys didn't know who he was, but guys who'd known him for years were like, good luck. It was very nice knowing you. That's what you want.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's what you want as a sales rep if you're on that side of the counter. But you want that as a retailer to know that those guys did right by not only your customers, but right by your store, but building that relationship. And so that's an important part of it, is getting those relationships built. But the other part of it too is making something that's totally out of the box, make something that's different, that also makes you money, not just let's have a bounce house and a slip and slide and for $4,000 and see if we can make it back.
Right.
Just do something out of the box. I mean, not to cheap plug for me, but next week's National Cigar Smoking Day, I'm opening at midnight and I'm doing crazy deals. And you know what? If you buy a box, I'm going to get you breakfast and we'll play dominoes all night. If you want to come, cool. But it's a good deal to get cigars, right?
Are you doing that online?
No.
Oh, okay.
In store only.
Okay.
Later in the year, we're going to do a rep roast. When we bring all the reps in and we do it like an Italian dinner and do a roast. But those are things people remember. People don't remember buying 3 cigars and getting a hat.
Right.
That's why it's dead.
Right.
It might still sell product, and it's important to still have that maybe for some of your customers who can't afford to buy a box. But if I could give advice, which is dangerous.
Go for it.
Make an event for your customers that they're going to want to remember, not just that they got a deal. Because you can get a deal anywhere. You can get a deal anytime. But if they come up to you and personally thank you, or the rep, or the owner of the store, or whoever, and they want to do it again, or when are you doing that again, then you did a good job. Right. And I just think people get lazy.
Yeah. I think that, one of the common thing that's happening here in the Rhode Island industry, and I'm sure elsewhere for sure, is what I call flash deals. Oh, blah, blah, blah will be here tonight. And it's like 5 o'clock and you got 2 hours and they deep discount and whatnot. And some people in life, because of responsibilities, and like you said, it's a luxury product, you can't really pivot that. But I'm sure that your customer base knows when your next event is. I'm sure you've already sold tickets. I'm sure you're probably 2-3 events deep. And I'm going to talk about the stuff that comes up out of the woodwork.
I'm in August right now.
Okay, so you're in August. So there you go. I often say that in my other stuff with business consulting, where it's like, you need to plan 6 months ahead. Yeah. Not a flash deal. Yeah. Because when you do the flash deal, you create a sense of urgency, sure, but you also cheapen the brand.
But if it also doesn't work,
right,
you just kind of if you keep, it's like cry wolf, right? If you do a blowout sale right away and you don't do any marketing behind it and no one shows up, when you try and do it again, you're going to be like, one, you're going to be like, I don't know if this will work. But two, like, if without the right planning, you might catch lightning in a bottle and it'll work. But, if you do the right planning behind it, like for me, we talk about UFC. I got a plan for when Conor McGregor's gone, John Jones is gone, Ronda Rousey's already gone. UFC's been a great, successful event series for us, but once the hype is over on UFC, I got to find the next UFC. So that's what I'm working on now. Right. Because that's going to come, and it may not come tomorrow or the end of 2018. But when that day comes, I have to be ready with a new plan of attack when it comes to doing my monthly or bi-monthly events. So that's what I try and work on.
Yeah, it's going to come.
It's going
to come. When you look at the brand, and when they sold out of the brand, and it's the fighters are getting watered down. And I honestly think that business methodology, if the UFC spaced out their events, you can drag that timeline longer. Yeah. But in my world, the way my world works like a whirlwind sometimes, I'm like, it's already another pay-per-view? Like, really? Like, we just, like, wasn't that like
trust me, I know. I get the emails to buy it.
Wasn't that 4 weeks ago? Oh no, it was 5 weeks ago. Oh my God, like
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it just and some people have star power, and some events do better than others. Yeah. But what do you do when you keep incubating the fighters? Incubating the fighters can be similar to incubating the sticks. Yeah. There's a time component of healing. Yes. When it comes to the fighters. Yes. And clearance with concussion and taking care of the athletes. Yeah. Just like, hey, I want to create a new stick, and there's a time component with that too.
Or doing another event with the same company.
Right.
You could beat a dead horse that way too. Yeah. Like if you just did an event with whatever big brand, and then 2 weeks from now you're doing the same event.
It gets watered down.
It gets way watered down. You have to give them a reason to go, this is once a year we do this big to do. Like, I mean, for us, I know you guys have talked about Phil on the show a lot lately. Americade is a big bike event in Lake George. It's like Laconia, one of the biggest bike rallies in the country. And we do an event every year with Indian Motorcycles, and Phil's there. But it's once a year. We don't. That's the one time a year we go all in on Indian and all their stuff, and we do our big Drew Estate blowout. It's one of the best Drew Estate parties we do all year. But that's it. There's no Drew Estate party in 2 weeks. There's no whatever. That's it. So if you want the deals, you want to meet Phil, you want to do all this stuff, whoever else might show up from the company, that's it. Same thing. We do an event with Kristoff. Glenn Case will be here this one day every year, and that's it. So plan ahead.
It's a smart way.
It's appointment. You say appointment television. It's appointment booking too. That's how you want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's.
They also have to pay for a $4 billion purchasing agreement.
Yeah, sure. We had a comment of on the forum of with the UFC how for the listeners at home who didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is a programming thing, right?
I see.
See, I'm used to it, right? Working in radio, like you could back up my ear all you want. Right. We had a comment saying that the UFC pay-per-view events come out frequently because there's so much talent.
Sure. They have a deep roster right now.
I agree with that. They have a deep roster, but you got to keep feeding that pipeline.
Yeah.
And
they just bought the company for $4 billion, Joe. They got to get their money back.
Right. And then my only objection to that comment is not only do you got to keep feeding the pipeline, not everybody has the same star power.
No.
Even though they may be a great fighter.
Yeah.
And how does this relate to the cigar industry? Even though it could be a great stick, and we go through this on segment 3 of Stogie Geeks when we do the sticks of the week. It could be a great stick, but if it's sitting on your shelf and it's not selling and it has no star power, it doesn't go anywhere. Same thing in the cigar industry, where if it's a mediocre stick, and it's priced at $14, we've all seen this. It's priced at $14, and it has star power, it sells.
Well, I mean, we talked about it in the beginning. There's unfortunately on the business side, there's a difference between good cigars and cigars that sell. Sometimes the stars in your line, and there's great cigars that sell. But unfortunately, just because this guy's a really cool dude and he's got all this cool marketing, if it sits on my shelf for a year, I'm not ordering it again. I don't care how cool it is.
Right.
It didn't do anything for me.
Or if they say, from your perspective, buy 10 and get 2 boxes. I don't need 10 boxes.
Right.
Exactly. Because they think, oh wow, if you buy 10, you get 2, and you can sell the 2 boxes at Keystone, and you're making some of your money back. I get that argument. But if it has no star power or no momentum, it doesn't matter.
Well, and that's a scary thing too. I've read a couple articles about it online on some of the forums about how retailers are leery of boutique brands sometimes. It's because a lot of it's generated by hype. And once you do that, you bought 15 boxes, you bought 10 boxes at the store. Once the next hype comes along, you're stuck. You have 15 boxes of something that was hot in 2015 or 2 months ago. And that, unfortunately, some retailers fall victim to that, even us. I mean, that's why, we talk about doing stuff on the bargain bin. That's why there's you see some cigars in there right now at cupofjoes.com. They're like, wow, that was a really cool cigar. It's got a lot of hype. But you know what? Unfortunately, it didn't do too well for me. It's still a great cigar. And now you can benefit from getting a deal, but I don't want to buy cigars that are going to eventually come back to bite me. I want to buy, 1, work with companies who are going to work with me, and 2, that I know they're going to be around, Because that's a scary place to be when you're not sure where something's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where with the star power, it's here today, gone tomorrow. And how many boxes or brands or blends or however that have had star power, and you've blown through them. And they're like, it's hot. So then you call the manufacturer. Wait, you call the manufacturer. Wait, I'm not done, right?
Okay.
You call the manufacturer. It's on back order. Right? Because at our email, because we're on all of the media lists from all the, we get an email today from a certain brand apologizing to its vendors, and that they're going to hypercorrect that by Q3 of 2018.
It's over.
And
Party's over.
So I'm looking at that. So it happened today. I was going through some email. Happened today. I was going through some email, and I'm like, you're gonna address that at Q3, like Q3 trade show, right?
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna build up all of that, but not for nothing. Timing and cadence.
Oh yeah.
In fighting, and we all want to sell tobacco. We only get paid for first place, right? So if they walk into your shop, they're not going to your shop and then driving 45 minutes down the road and going to that, unless they're really searching for that star power.
Sure.
But let's face it, if they're going to buy 5 cigars at your place, that they're probably done with that purchase. They're probably done with that purchase for a day, week, whatever their buyer frequency is, right?
Yeah.
So, and you only get paid for first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, if they wait till trade show, and out of the trade show, we do pre-trade show stuff here on Stogie Geeks. Yeah. Predictions.
Sure.
See how close that we're going to get, and then see what happens. Yeah. But somebody new comes up with something, or dare I say, there's another collaboration, right? Another collaboration cigar that everybody wants.
Like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, the Mega Powers, brother.
Right. And it's just, and then that gets lost in translation. Yeah. Right. Guess what? You've wasted 2018.
I'll tell you what. So I had this conversation with the manufacturer not too long ago about I won't name names.
Oh, yeah, well, that's probably good for you.
Yeah, but I said, dude, man, I've been waiting for this cigar for 6 months. They moved on. The party's over. Yeah. They've moved on to other stuff that's a little more high end. So thank you. I appreciate that. But you had good momentum. You're right. We did spend a lot of money with you in this year. Mm-hmm. But I can't buy product and not know that I'm going to get it in a reasonable time. Yeah. Because, I'm not a collector. I'm a retailer. Mm-hmm. So I need to be able to turn product. That's the ultimate goal in this business is to turn product, whether it's from a manufacturer or a retailer. Right. So if you can't give me product, I'm going to go deal with someone who can. Mm-hmm. And who and then it works. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else you want to add for this segment? I can't wait for the next one. 5 questions with Danny D. You know what? I think we came out of the gate strong. So all right. So retailers, to buy 3, get 1. Change your focus. Try it. Try it for the next couple months. Email us back. joe@stogiegeeks.com. Hope it was a help. When we come back, 5 questions with Danny D. Stay tuned.